Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to speak on this adjournment debate, particularly after the Honorable Mahinda Amaraveera invited the opposition to point out shortcomings, mistakes of the government, saying that all of that is welcome. So, in that spirit, I wish to make certain or point out certain matters where the government has failed. But without stopping at that, I would also urge the government to take some corrective measures and in the course of my speech, hopefully make some constructive suggestions as well. Primarily, this pandemic has been with us for over a year, almost 1.5 years. Very early in the day, in January 2020, I remember the Honourable Leader of the Opposition raising this matter in Parliament and asking the question as to why the airport had not been closed. He raised it yet again around the 2nd of February, I believe, 2nd or 3rd of February last year. And there was no proper reply at that stage from the government. The government was keen to dissolve Parliament. And the very first opportunity, it dissolved Parliament. Parliament that should have been in session and taken measures to combat, to meet with this national challenge, was dissolved for political expediency. And thereafter, when we called, all the parties in the opposition called that Parliament must be reconvened, the government refused to heed that. We gave several reasons why Parliament had to meet. At that time, those who were being infected were in the single digits. Today, we have actually gone to a point where the government seems to have lost control. It's a sad situation when the health professionals and others who are battling this virus are taking enormous risk and are in the front lines. The decision-making processes of the government seems to have put even their lives at peril. There is no proper decision-making process. And that is why we asked more than a year ago that there needs to be a specific law to deal with this situation. Countries world over immediately passed laws. COVID-19 Act, Coronavirus Act in Italy, in the UK, in India, in Singapore. Several examples. They immediately passed laws to enable a proper legal regime to deal with the situation. Now I'm mentioning this aspect very particularly because we can exchange views in an adjournment debate. But over and above that, Parliament has a specific duty as one of the arms of the government. It is this House and this House alone that makes laws, to make legislation. And we have with us two pieces of legislation. One is more than 100 years old. Other is over 150 years old and not fit to meet with the situation that the country is facing today or the world is facing today. I heard the Honorable Minister of Justice the other day in this House. He stated that the government will introduce a new act to deal with this situation. But where is that act? There doesn't seem to be any urgency in doing what this House ought to do. There are other bills, like the Port City Bill, all being brought post haste. But something that this House should have done in emergency session, having been reconvened after dissolution even, has not been done even to date. I have presented a private member's bill. I tendered it last year. It was lying at the Honorable Attorney General's Department for several months. And on the 23rd of April, it was presented to this House. The first reading is over. 1 week has lapsed. No one has challenged that bill. Now it can be taken up. I have been informed by Parliament that the matter has been referred to the Ministry of Health as per the standing orders, and a letter has been sent to me in entirely in the Sinhala language. Now this is another issue. How many times do we have to raise this? That a Tamil member of Parliament is being sent letters in Sinhala. I'm told that even circulars, etc. for employees are done only in Sinhala. At least in this Parliament, can we give effect to the constitutional provisions that there are two official languages in this country? Why do you continue to observe this in the breach? That's one matter. I have got it read to me, and it apparently says that the matter has been referred to the Ministry of Health. That's a good thing. But I would urge the Ministry of Health and the others to have a look at this. This is only a suggestion. The government should do it. But it is upon the government's failure to bring a law that meets with this situation that I have presented this private member's bill. The Human Rights Commission, in a letter dated 8th June 2020, wrote to the Secretary to the President, advising the President that the laws that we have now are not sufficient to meet with this situation. It's a fairly long letter. After considering all the laws in extent, and they have said that none of these meet with the present situation, particularly to restrain people from their right of freedom of movement. There is no law. Under the Quarantine and Diseases Act, you can't stop people from moving. You can only declare certain areas to be quarantine areas. Now, it's almost a year since the Human Rights Commission wrote officially and told the government the lacuna in the law. Still, no action has been taken. Now, in the bill that I have commended to Parliament, I'm not saying that that's a perfect draft. That is only a suggestion. But at least when someone has presented something like that, why don't you consider it? Because in Sri Lanka, in our country today, the public security ordinance is designed to deal only with public security and maintenance of public order, not designed to deal with large-scale health emergencies like this. Quarantine and Prevention of Diseases Ordinance enacted in 1897 is archaic. I mean, I don't have to say that. The scale of emergencies should not be managed merely by regulations under that ordinance. There must be laws, particularly because now we have a constitution and there are fundamental rights enshrined in the constitution. And freedom of movement can only be restricted by a law that is enacted by Parliament, not by regulations. Article 15(7) of the Constitution specifically lays that down, and there are several judgments that say you can't do it. Emergency regulations are an exception. You can do it by emergency regulations, but not by any other regulation. So regulations made under a quarantine ordinance will not suffice. we have encouraged the people to abide by these regulations. We are not telling the people to violate them because it is necessary in the interest of public health to abide by this. But it must also be lawful. I can understand in the first few months of this pandemic, we didn't have a law. But it is no excuse to say that 1.5 years after the pandemic broke out, that we still don't have a law. And a private member's bill has to be presented to Parliament from the opposition ranks, and still the government is not taking any action. The Disaster Management Act is there. We could have at least used that.
Honourable Member, your 9 minutes is going to be over.
I have 15 minutes, sir.
Only 9 minutes have been mentioned here. It has been reduced due to the...
Very well, I'll conclude.
Yeah.
I'll conclude soon, sir. The disaster, even the definition of disaster will not refer to the issue that we are facing today. So, I urge the government, without trading allegations, I have already said that it is the government's mismanagement of this issue that we are facing a third wave. Even the vaccines were mismanaged. It is important to bring a lockdown for the whole country to manage the third wave. Ministers shouldn't be allowed to interfere in those decisions like Honorable Gamini Lokuke did. All that has to be done. Government must take those actions, but must do it also lawfully. And therefore, even private hospitals must be permitted. I know that Honorable Suhasini Farandapula said that Ayurvedic institutions can treat patients. If Ayurvedic institutions can treat patients, why can't the private hospitals be allowed to do this? So, even at this point in time, I urge the government to take proper, responsible steps, and I urge this House to make laws that are necessary in the interest of the public health situation that we are facing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.